lists all this and it's there. I mean, it's makes things simple for them, or whatever's happening. Otherwise, you gotta do search for all that.
So know this, there is a provision in the law that if any political subdivision doesn't notify me, technically it's by August 10th, but because that falls on a Sunday, it's August 11th. If they don't give me that information, they don't get their, the most they can ask for is what they got before. So I would like to think that they're going to comply.
Well, that's the incentive for them to have that.
So,
Otherwise, I would see someone just going along.
Well, right, if they don't have this public forum or meeting, what's the state gonna do?
Right.
No. But you can bet, all the townships in the state, they're not all gonna do it.
No.
get caught behind a train wheel. It's a
I
long
thought the
train.
meeting started at 8:30.
Yeah, we're at 8 o'clock.
Dude insisted we start doing
We wanted to start earlier. He's up
No.
early and ready to go all the time, so he says, why do we gotta lollygag around till 8:30? Let's start at
That's
8.
okay.
Probably didn't contact me about that.
Well, that was his call. Last meeting, we said contact, and yeah, you never did you? You never contacted me.
That's all right, I'll let it go.
I figured you would.
So far, we haven't had anything to report in the paper.
You can take his
You're
word
at,
for it.
you're at the best, you're at the best part now.
What do you want to go over next, then?
Let's see, we can go down to the delegate appointment, item 6.
Yeah, we need to notify Association of Counties on who our delegates, because I think Brian did it last year.
Yeah. I think we should have Brian Rutherford this year, you know,
Well, I think it should be rotated
right,
on,
yeah,
it's a pretty
rotate.
interesting deal.
you get a better
You up for that? You up for
gotta
that?
do-
Yeah.
You gotta go to, oh, you were there, explain it to me.
You gotta get to go to a better breakfast in the morning, and then you gotta listen to their stuff, what they talk about.
You vote on one thing, don't you?
If there's any new stuff that's brought up, that committee will do it.
It's easy. It's not intimidating. You don't have to stand up in front of everybody and give a speech or anything like that.
Unless you want to make a resolution on something, then you can.
Except those that are in their first year of doing
Yeah.
Dan, I wasn't gonna tell him that.
So Brian, you're willing to do it?
That's what was.
All right.
it. Is there any, are we good just with the consensus?
Yeah.
Okay,
I think so.
all right.
It'll be a good experience for you. Good.
Okay.
Purdue Pharma?
Yeah, you can go there next if you'd like.
Okay, so you all got a copy of this? It's the opioid settlements.
And I don't expect anybody to digest that whole circumstance, but what you do need to do to stay in the hunt for receiving dollars through litigation, which, hey, they were deemed responsible, but if you want to stay in the hunt to continue to get those dollars, you need to approve this. And what you're really doing is authorizing either Oliver or myself to sign this document and send it back, and he wants me to sign it and send it back.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Okay, motion made by Stan to approve the Purdue Pharma blah, blah, blah thing.
Well, and basically what it's saying is, just to clarify the motion, is that you want to stay on board through the bankruptcy proceedings,
Right.
and whatever they collect, we get a portion of that.
And it's not a big deal, and every dollar that we do get though goes to the health district.
Yeah,
So,
that's good. Is there a second to that motion?
Second.
Brian Miller, second. Any discussion? So this just one group that's filed bankruptcy, or they're going more?
That's just the Purdue Pharma. And they're a big time player in the pharmacy world. But, screaming uncle right now, so.
I'm sure. Any other discussion? Hearing no other discussion, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carried.
And you can just keep going to the next one.
All right. Next one in front of you is the workplace breastfeeding policy. I'll look through it quick.
So, move it.
Motion made by Brian Lauk to accept this policy. Is there a second? Second by Boone. Any discussion on this?
They never had a policy before.
And really and truly, it isn't that you would not have allowed this to occur before, but we were here at our department's meeting, I suppose it was 10, 12 days ago, and District Health said that they knew of the possibility of some grant money to support something like this. So Janelle Pepley took it, ran with it, and by the following Monday morning, which was 5 days later, 4 days later, I had documentation from the state that were approved, providing we have a policy in place to support this, and that's why we have this in place. And the grant is small as $500, and basically what it's going to do is buy us a chair for the room. We're going to use one that's on the 3rd floor, which ironically just happens to work for us right now. And the beauty of this is it's next to the courtroom, so if there's ever anybody that's in court that's a child, they can use this thing. Yeah.
Plus, we'll have an employee that probably can use it.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right.
And that's really truly upfront why we wanted to do it, is because we have an employee member that
Right.
will use it. And so it'll be there for years and years and years, and the space wasn't being used for anything else, so.
Yeah, that's perfect little room for that. It used to be, the super civil office. Let's see, did we
And
vote?
you didn't vote.
So you didn't vote.
All those in favor of this say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carried. All right.
Okay, and then we'll just kill a little bit of time before Ann gets here. I'm not gonna get into the budget, but I did provide you all with this. And this is a very important document. I don't care if you're representing the county, a township, cities, school districts, ambulance districts, fire districts, any political subdivision. These are the mill levy rules that exist, and they're updated obviously to go along with the new legislation and so on. So everything that you ever wanted to know about levies is called the levy limitation sheet. So it starts off with the state medical center. Everybody in the state of North Dakota pays 1 mil to support the state medical center. Garrison Diversion is next. That's not all of North Dakota. It's just folks like us that are in and around that particular area. But everybody that's under that umbrella pays 1 mil for that. Then as you get into the county, they've even got the old ones in here that have all been repealed and so on. But general fund, you can levy up to 60 mils. Now, if you're not at 60, like us, you can only go up 3% if you're at 60. Okay? You're capped regardless. So county roads and bridges, it says 10, 30 with a majority vote of the people. We are at 14. We did go to our people to have that vote a couple years back. Capital projects, you could be up to 10. We don't take that amount. Okay, emergency, if you're a county with a certain size, you can levy 2. If you're another size, 4, another size, 6, and so on. We're a fraction of we're not even at a quarter of a mil for that. VSO, you can have up to 2 mils or 4 if you go to the vote of the people. Same thing with the extension service. Flipping the page, County Historical Society, a quarter of a mil. Health District can be up to 5 mils. JDA can be up to 4, but there are some provisions if you've got a city JDA in your county, which we do, but we're nowhere near that anyway. Programs for the senior citizens, 2 mils. You could have an airport authority, you could have emergency medical services, you could support your hospital. There's all kinds of different things that you can do that you do not do here. So that is If you go to the bottom of page 5, you see weed control there. They're at 4. They have to be at 3 mils in order to get state money. So we always make sure that they're above that, but they're not at their max. If you had unorganized townships, which someday you may very well have, then that money would come to the county and you could levy up to 18, just like they're able to do. Library mill, up to 4. Water Resource District, they can have 4 mills, plus they can have unlimited if they have deficiencies, if they would have to go out and do a whole bunch of work and levy whatever it costs to remedy that circumstance. So those are all of the things that exist for township, or not townships, for the county. And you could look at townships if you want, or cities if you want. School districts are in there, ambulance districts, fire districts. And at the very, very back end of this, you have the Soil Conservation District on the bottom of page 17. They can do up to 2.5 mils. What is going to be challenging, and it's not challenging for you in 2025, going into the 2026 year, what's going to be challenging for you is all of those things have to be taken together and you're capped at 3 mils. It's not 3, or not 3 mils, 3%. It's not 3% of each one of these things. It's 3% overall. So what's going to be challenging for you is if, for example, let's say soil conservation, the weed board, pick any 3 or 4 out that you want that come back with requests next year that are fairly substantial. You have to figure out how to balance that with your own needs, knowing that 3% is your cap. The only 2 that don't fit under that umbrella is emergency and the water board. It's 3% for all of you. So you can consider yourself lucky this time around that soil conservation has asked for the same thing as they did last year. JDA asked for the same thing as they did last year. You have several of them that did that. What if they don't? Now, it's still your decision on what they get, but that's going to become the challenging part.
But I can see entities restricting things like that so they can keep the 3% or 3% plus in the salary divisions in the general fund,
Yeah,
right?
it is
I don't
a
mean
challenge.
us, but I mean,
And a good example of this is the health district. It wasn't more than a few years ago, and that was 210,000.
Mhm.
Now it's 160. So they, in a sense, freed up $50,000 for somebody else.
right.
And that isn't going to happen all the time.
So I'm still confused a little bit. I've heard it both ways in that you can only increase your overall budget by 3% or your mills by 3%.
No, it has nothing to do with mills. It's your ask. It's your dollars.
What happens in any kind, or Watford City that's expanding their services? How do they do it?
They can ask for a 3% increase.
You know what I mean? I mean, now the city's growing, so we gotta hire 3 extra policemen, or we gotta expand something. They can't.
See, they're fortunate in that they have an expanding tax base. That's a good thing. Most people will appreciate that.
But that doesn't help,
It's
because
a
you can only-
challenge in that you can only increase your ask by 3%.
Total ask.
So it has nothing to do with mills. Our mills won't go up anywhere
Right,
near
yeah, I
3%
know.
because our valuation increased. So our mills
Right.
are going up less than 1 mil.
Right.
But if the ask is still 3%.
Well, in an area where you have any political subdivision that is expanding, a school district, and now they're hiring 6 new teachers because, and that's a little different because they get state foundation aid and other sources, but that just handcuffs them, doesn't it?
It's going to be very challenging.
Wow.
You know, and I remember before the legislation, or the legislature even started, they said that what was their number 1 thing that they had to get done this year? They had to get property tax relief, and they had to get hard caps on this, because that's what the people wanted. Well, people do want that, until it becomes a challenge for themselves.
Right. Till it affects them.
So, and What would be the other side of that, what would be worse than that, would be a declining.
The other side.
You know, you can still ask for 3%. But if you have declining valuation, that means that everybody else has to pick up the entire thing. So it's more challenging to be in that circumstance where you don't know if,
Not only the other subdivision, but even for our own services that we provide is gonna get tough. Things cost more, blah, blah, blah.
Well, they're assuming, the state legislature's assuming that inflation will be 3% or less. But if it isn't, or if anything comes up, you're talking about that.
Anything else on that?
and we'll come back and we'll pick up with the budget after we're done with
Okay.
all of our questions.
Dan's here. Morning.
Morning.
Morning, Ann.
Just want to give you a quick rundown on the Soil Conservation District. We did not increase our budget. We stuck with the same. We had a little change in personnel. Spencer left and Tony Gill left. She's been with us about 20 years, so we're not entirely sure if we're going to hire a full-time person or a part-time person. The board is looking at options for that. One of our big projects right now is the Harvey Dam project, and we are doing water quality assessment from Lone Tree all the way to Wellsburg. And I've got, after Spencer left, kind of unexpectedly, I was able to get Colby Houchin is doing the stream samples, and Ashton Rimke is doing the lake samples. So we're able to, continue the assessment phase. But that is done in September, the end of September this year. So we'll be the Soil Conservation District will be holding another stakeholders meeting sometime within the next few weeks to see where the stakeholders have to decide what they want to do, if anything, based on the water quality data that we have collected. The deadline, if someone, if the water board or the county or the city of Harvey or Boy Scouts or some entity decides to take on an implementation phase of the 319 project, that application is due in November, so there's kind of a short turnaround. The Department of Environmental Quality will help immensely with everything if someone decides they want to do that. 319 projects are usually a 60-40% cost share, whether it be on the stream, if it was for agricultural practices along the stream, or bigger practice on the reservoir. That's up to anybody who wants to take on that project. The Soil Conservation District hasn't, everything depends on what the stakeholders are interested in doing. Whatever we do, it's going to cost a lot of money, and that's not in the Soil Conservation District's budget for this year. But that's where we need to see if someone's interested in taking on a project to address the issues of water quality at Harvey Dam, or the Cheyenne from Lone Tree to Wellsburg. It's all impaired. Everything is impaired, we call it. But what anybody wants to do with it depends on who wants to put forth the labor and cash.
Are there any preliminary findings on the water quality yet? or-
Nothing more than what we had last year. This year's data has not been compiled yet, but I've asked them to get what we have to date. We missed several really important water sampling in May, so we can't recoup that. The last 2 years, which is a good thing, we haven't had fish kill, we haven't had bacteria, we haven't had any problems But that's the first 2 years and probably the last 10
Yeah.
that there haven't been those problems, just because of the weather. So the data, everyone knows kind of what the history of water quality has been, so. And being it's, Harvey is way up here, and the whole rest of the county, and somebody has to decide if they want to invest in that or not.
It could be a hard sell.
It was designed as a recreational area in the 60s, and that was very legitimate then in the 60s. People couldn't go off to Sakakawea or Oahe or wherever for their water recreation.
It was a big swimming area, so how come the water was good then and not now? Is that
Because
gonna
the
come out?
sediment, I mean, does the results last year indicate that if you apply for these grants for certain things that you think they get approved? I mean, that's a speculation.
That's totally a speculation. I think if with the help of the Department of Environmental Quality, if a grant were applied for, it would be approved,
Oh.
yes. But that's 60-40. Where's the 40 going to come from? And it's back then. Just looking at the lake, you've got the old roadbed, and then you've got the dam. So the old roadbed is kind of stopping the water, and stuff is settling there, and then it moves on, and then more is settling before it goes over the top, right, for the water. So you've got all that sediment hanging out at the bottom, and that's part of the problem.
So a lot of the talk has been dredging is one of the things to probably do.
That dredging is an option.
Isn't there like 4 feet of sediment?
That's we're waiting for the exact measurements, but that's what they
But it's
speculate.
significant.
Yes, that's what they speculate. So if you take out that sediment, then you're gonna have deeper water, and you're gonna have healthier water. But, then in 50 years, you're gonna have the same problem. Something has to be done to, keep that sediment moving out the bottom.
If you dredge, you almost have to tear that old road out of there probably
I think that old road is probably the biggest hazard.
too.
Because not only for sediment, but for recreational
Prop
activity.
motors.
Yeah, and livelihood, somebody on a jet ski or something out there, I think could be serious. That could really
Yeah,
be
these
serious.
then can be a really dangerous area.
And why that wasn't taken out initially, I have no idea. But anyway, that's where we're at. We're gonna have a stakeholders meeting, like I said, within the next few weeks, and we'll have it up in Harvey, and we'll invite all the same people who were at the initial one before we started the assessment. And just see if anybody wants to take it and move forward, or if you just want to keep them going and let it. The Soil Conservation District Board said they really aren't gonna push one way or another. We've done the assessment, that's what we said we would do. And then if anybody wants to take it to the next step, that's the next step. But we're not gonna commit to anything at this point either until we know.
We appreciate all the work you've done on this.
It's very valuable information that if not now, maybe down the road. And we've been doing water quality assessments on the Cheyenne off and on since 1995. So we do have quite a bit of data there that we, can look at. But the data is great, but if nobody's going to do anything, then,
But that being said, do you see a big difference from back then from now?
no.
Pretty much same? Really?
There's fluctuations just depending on weather and, rainfall and all that.
Yeah.
And it's interesting because in some areas it's worse when it's coming off the grassland in the stream than it is.
Really?
Yeah,
Yeah.
which, that doesn't really make sense. So that we have to try to figure out why that is the case.
It's interesting.
Because it isn't agriculture chemical, it isn't livestock.
Well, that gets blamed for a lot of it, but
Right.
that's not necessarily true.
Right.
But the Cheyenne starts way back with Lone Tree.
beyond,
yes.
right?
And, well, it comes from the north too.
Right.
But all the way through Lone Tree, there should be grass filters to no end.
Right. But it's still considered an impaired stream. It still
I
has.
understand that,
still
but I'm just saying,
exceeds-
within Lone Tree, there shouldn't be too much entering the stream.
Well, with no-till farming and different conservation practices, you would think it would be significantly better than it was 30 years ago,
That's-
but
that
it
was the
doesn't
point I was
sound
gonna
like it
make.
is.
Yeah, yeah.
Because there's not near the producers with livestock along the river either.
Right, right.
That's-
And
that'll
more
change.
producers are getting the livestock out of the river, you know, not all of them, but.
That was
That
through,
makes a difference.
so there was programs through Soil Conservation to do that, right?
And there still are. And if not through the Soil Conservation, the Cattlemen's Association, there's a lot of different 319 projects. And 319 is the, you know, the cost share through the Department of Environmental Quality that brings EPA money in. And, you know, whether it's federal money that is channeled through the state to the producer. And, you know, all that's kind of unknown right now, how that will build out.
And it depends on the kind of weather events you got too,
Mhm.
how much washes,
Yeah,
if it's slow or fast.
yeah, that's right.
Because from Harvey Dam back at least 3 miles, on this side of the river, it's all fenced out.
Mm-hmm.
We fence most of it.
Right.
It's all fenced out.
So, but otherwise, the Soil Conservation District, it's business as usual. This is the 30th year that I have planted trees in Wells County.
Wow.
That's a lot of trees. It's probably been one of the most difficult years as far as personnel, as far as weather, as far as everything. But we got through it and planted about 50,000 feet of trees this year. And we've got about a little bit more than that lined up for next year already. So, through state funding. EQIP and federal funding is so uncertain and just shying away from that, but the state through the Outdoor Heritage Fund has designated pretty generous cost share, 75% of any tree plantings that meet the criteria, so the state is being very supportive.
Thank you.
The other thing. Oh, Pam Copenager has come on the board as one of our district supervisors. Jacob Brynjolfsson left, and when Pam retired from NRCS, and we had an opening, she volunteered and she was appointed to fill the expired term. So that's very nice to have her on the board because of her vast knowledge of
Your
conservation
past
issues.
experience fits right in
Yeah,
there.
absolutely,
Wow.
absolutely.
Good.
Yeah,
That's good.
that's all I've got. Any questions for me?
Thank
Great,
you.
thank you. We'll keep you posted.
Good job.
Okay,
Good
thank
work.
you.
Okay, we got Fair Board. Wayne and Leon are here.
Morning.
Good morning. Is there a test on this?
No, there's no test.
Teacher,
No, there's no test.
test. Thank you.
Okay. Did I get something next one?
These?
No, this.
You need one
Do
more?
you want one?
No, I'll be fine. I'll give him mine when I'm done. Okay, good morning. I'm gonna talk first, and then I'll let Leanne do the talking since she's the vice president. What I've got here for you is just a little one. I don't have a lot of financial stuff, but I just want to give you an update of where we're at. That top one shows where our current check balance is. And I know there's at least 8,000 to 10,000 that has to come out of there yet. So, and then of course we have money in the gazebo fund that is an ongoing project. I just spent some money to fix that right now. And then the sheriff restoration fund, we bought some bleachers out of that.